company, if I'm applying to a technology company, right? You want them to see different sides of you, right? You want them to understand that you have different capabilities. So your skills and interests, right? It could be your, your computer skills. You could either put like dots, or you could put like, you could write it underneath, right? Microsoft Office, C++, like Java, programming languages, your language skills, right? This could maybe be like English, native, then like Korean, basic, etc., right? So, and then of course, your interests. So maybe like he likes playing the clarinet, playing musical instruments. Within parentheses, you can put like just like you write basic over here on, you can put like drums, clarinet, right? Sports, mountain climbing. So can you now imagine all of this on one page? It's super organized, isn't it? It's like books on a bookshelf, right? Work, company, role, these are the things I did, things I achieved. Education, major, my grades. Those are achievements, right? Skills and interests. What can I do? What computer skills do I have? What language skills do I have? What am I interested in? And this, in a super organized fashion, tells you everything that you need to know about this person, right? So once again, we're keeping all our rules. It's one page, 8 to 10 seconds, right? And people don't have to spend too much time thinking about what is this person good at? What is this person, I'm looking for where did he graduate from? What did you study, right? So this is just your basic resume. And as I said, your resume can change based on, depending on what type of company, right? What type of position are you applying for? You could sometimes, the place where it changes most is when you talk about your daily activities, right? At work, your work experience. Because then, so you might have to describe things differently. Or like, normally, if you've worked at a company for a couple of years, you have many achievements, right? You're working on many, many different types of projects, right? So you have to pick which ones you want to talk about. Which ones are the most, the most sort of valuable experiences? What do I think is the most valuable for this company that I'm applying for, right? So that's kind of, that's something that's like really, really important. So the other piece of like, that's just resumes, right? But then the other piece is cover letters, right? Shin, what you were talking about. I just want to briefly cover this. I want to talk about this. A cover letter accompanies a resume. Now you guys understand the meaning of the word accompanying something. When you accompany something, it goes with it, right? So a cover letter could even be an email. Normally you send an email to a company, right? And say, okay, so this is my resume. It could be something as simple as, this is my resume. But usually, when we talk about cover letters, we say it also has a format. It has a structure that it follows. How do you think a cover letter should start? What do you guys think? What should the beginning be? The very first paragraph. There's usually 3 paragraphs, right? What do you think the first paragraph should say?
Like short introduction.
Yeah, right? This is who I am. My name is Minsu, right? And I'm writing to you about applying for this position, right? So really, first para, right? It's really a short introduction. It's like writing an essay, right? It's like, this is who I am, and I'm writing to you, right? As I am applying for this position at your company, which was listed, right? And you usually end the first paragraph by saying that, I believe I am a strong candidate, right? Or I would like to explain further about why I think I would be a good candidate, right? You guys are familiar with the word candidate, right? Candidate means you are applying for something or you're running for something, basically, right? So, it's the end of the first paragraph is basically, I believe, something like I believe that I'm a strong candidate, right, for this position. Second paragraph. What do you think this one talks about? Minsu, what do you think this one talks about? The last sentence of the first paragraph basically says, I believe that I would be a good choice.
Yes. I don't know if it's but you can choose your family.
No, not your family, because remember, we're talking about the job, right? So you introduce yourself, and remember, you made a statement, right? That I believe I am a great candidate, or I believe that I am the company would make a good choice by hiring me. So when you make a statement, what do you usually have to do?
Reason why this.
Exactly.
Why this.
Exactly. You have to prove it, right? So, second paragraph. Why? Why do you want this job? Why do you think you can do this job? Why should we hire you? What makes you different from everyone else who's applying for this job? Right? These are the really key questions that you have to, because when a person receives a resume, all you have to do is say that if someone was applying to me to be a part of my company, let's assume that we have a company, right? What are the questions I would ask them? Right? It's all of these things. Why? Why should we hire you? That's really what it is. You should hire me because I have 2 years of experience working for Hyundai in their finance group, and while I was there, I worked on many critical, many very important projects that helped the company achieve such and such goals, such and such sales, right? My group had a lot of influence on the company's performance, things like that. You really kind of have to, your cover letter goes hand in hand with your resume. Your cover letter is describing some of the things in your resume, right? And it doesn't just talk about your achievements. Sometimes it really depends, right? If you were applying to Hyundai because you're a huge fan of their cars and you're very interested in automobiles, right? You should write things like that as well. You should say that aside from my professional achievements, right? I find it, I've always been a huge fan of the cars, and I'm very interested in automobiles, and it's sort of a dream for me to work for the company that makes my favorite cars, right? You also want them to know things like that. It's not just about your work achievements. It's also about the fact that, like you said, right? If you're hiring someone, you want them to work for you for a long time, especially if they're a talented person, right? So what convinces me that, I think this person has a dedication to my company. They're a big fan of the company, right? So it's kind of like that. Your second paragraph is really why. Why am I a good candidate? Why do I like this job? Why do I think I can be unique in this position, right? And then there's a third paragraph. What do you think the third paragraph is? This is the last one, right? This is the last paragraph. What do you think it is?
I'm looking for blah, blah, blah.
No, because you've already said that in the first paragraph, right? In the first paragraph, we introduce ourselves and we say, I'm writing to you because I'm applying for this position. And I believe that I'm a strong candidate. The second paragraph says all the reasons why you believe you're a strong candidate, all the achievements that you have, all the reasons why you like the company, right? So what do you think the third paragraph is?
Closing.
It's a conclusion, right? You're basically saying thank you. So thank you because you're taking the time, right, to review my resume. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please email me, right? So it's basically just a thank you. It's kind of like a thank you in advance, right? Because you're taking the time to look at my resume. And if you have any questions, please call me at this number or please write to me at this email address, right? And I would be glad to discuss it further with you, right? I look forward to meeting you. given the opportunity, if you give me the opportunity to give me the chance, I look forward to meeting you and your colleagues, right? So once again, you can see that a cover letter, it follows a very organized format, right? Because once again, the person has more time to read a cover letter, but a cover letter it also has to tie to your resume. You should talk about the things in your resume, right? The things that, even some things that you want to explain in greater detail, but you can't because the resume has such a small size, you want to be able to talk about those things, right? You really want to be able to it's sort of like an introduction to your resume, right? It's what are the things that you would want, the person that's reviewing your resume, what would you want them to know before they review the resume, basically, right? The third one is always really important. Saying thank you is really, really important because these people get thousands of resumes every day, right? For them to take the time to review your resume, that's really, really important, right? So